Ready for Rohan Dennis versus the hour. Yep, it's time for the young Australian to take on the UCI hour record. And can he beat the 51.852 kilometers set by Martin Brendel of the IAM team? It's going to be a tough ask for him. He's got 207 laps of this 250-meter velodrome to complete if he is going to beat that record. But what form he's on. He comes to us straight from winning his home tour, the Tour Down Under, and with a dominant ride there and backed by his BMC team. Fantastic team here of R&D, mechanics, soigneurs and everybody else. They have got him in tip-top condition, ready for this attempt. The track is looking good. It's nice and warm inside, and hopefully Rohan is going to be raising the temperature with every pedal stroke as he takes on the record at 2 o'clock Central European time. So we are just so some beautiful shots against in our setting here today. Beautiful village and the home of Swiss watches and BMC bikes, and those are going to come together here in the Velodrome Swiss with Rohan Dennis taking on the hour record. Now the target he's got to go for, 51.852, was set a little while ago by the Swiss roadman Martin Brendel from the IAM team, and he came to set the standard ahead of that set by Voigt and raised it by about 700 meters. He extended it. So we're going to go very shortly to look at how Matthias Brendel managed to break that record.
Down to one, and then he will be underway in this world hour record. A fantastic crowd here in Aigle. He's beaten it. Now we're going to come round. He has maybe one more lap in the tank. 51.8, and he'll go round. He'll complete one more lap of the track. The 1 hour is over.
So Matthias Brendel, he set the record at the UCI track over at Aigle. It's a shorter, more compact track than the Velodrome Swiss here, and could well be that Rohan Dennis is going to benefit from quite a sizable crowd that we have here, and a lot of Aussies I've heard in the audience to cheer him on. Also, of course, being just across the road, literally from the BMC base, it means that we can see how this young man does. Let's see about Rohan Dennis.
One more here. Trying to stay smooth is what goes through my head a lot, sticking on that black line, but also trying to zone out as much as possible, I think is the key. It's an hour of doing circles. So when Jens Voigt made it pretty public that he was attempting it, I shot my mouth off a little bit and sort of said I'd beat him easily. Now it's sort of time to live up to those words.
So the Aussie young gun, there he is. The final preparations, the spray going on just to keep the temperature down. The alcohol spray just keeps the rider cool. You can see he's got the kineso tape underneath the suit as well. Every possible aid that he can legally use is going to be put into play. His coach Neil Henderson has crunched all the numbers and has worked out a schedule for him. And now it all comes down to what this man can do. So the track here, Velodrome Swiss at Grenchen, 250 meters and 46 degree on the banks, and the Siberian pine surface looking in very good condition, I have to say. Not too much visible nicks or patches out there.
Rohan Dennis versus the hour.
The crowds are all starting to get warmed up. Here he comes then. Rohan Dennis into the track out of the track centre. And here comes Marco Pinotti.
Only a few minutes to go. Last infos and insights out of the catacombs. How's the atmosphere down there?
Yeah, the atmosphere is getting hotter, and the pathos is increasing before a big show. We have been preparing this for weeks, if not months, and now you can feel the tension, but everyone is ready and excited to start.
So are we, but the goal is obvious, to break the world record. What's the tactic?
Yeah, the tactic is like not to overpace in the beginning, because just we need to match the record and a little bit more. And then when Rohan reaches a new ground area, which is my 30-40 minutes, then it's up to him if he can speed up or keep the pace that he's doing, because he's never tried an effort like this. It's a 1 hour, it's special. We have seen last week with Bobic that it's not easy. It's not guaranteed it's going to beat the record. And so the goal is like not overpacing, and after this, give it all.
What if technical problems come up?
Yeah, we have an option to change the bike if he has a technical. In case of the technical will happen in the first 10 minutes, we are allowed to do a restart. If it happens later, we have a bike at the center of the track. And then, so a person will have to look if Rohan raises a hand in case of technical. And then we try to make a bike change as fast as possible.
But this hopefully won't happen. Everything's ready, and I think I have to let you go now because tension is rising, huh?
Yeah, I hope you enjoy.
So there he is. Rohan Dennis versus the hour. Just checking that position. It's a custom molded position, specially worked out at BMC's Impact Advanced Lab to try and reduce that frontal cross section as much as possible to bring down the wind resistance. Everything is calculated to the last step to try and give him every advantage possible. Just the last few words of encouragement there from his coach. The crowd is starting to get warmed up here in preparation. And as Marco Pinotti was saying, it's all about the pacing, because we saw last week Jack Bobridge, his pacing went a little bit awry and caused some problems for him. So we have 35 seconds counting down. Dennis just looks so calm, so relaxed. They're actually having a little smile and a joke there on the start line. Rohan Dennis, the winner of the Tour Down Under, the leader of the UCI World Tour. Can he put his name into the record books inside 10 seconds? Counting down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And Rohan Dennis takes on the hour now. The crowd giving him plenty of applause as he gets underway. Just getting on top of that gear. I'm hearing it's a 56.14. We'll confirm if that has changed, but he's got onto the gear now, getting into his position, perched on the nose of that physics saddle. One of his big benefits, Rohan Dennis, if you look at him there, he can get his body so low. Beautiful flat back, and the teardrop helmet just molds into his back for a continuous line, just reduces that aerodynamic drag as much as possible. So on target. First minute completed, just another 59 to go. And he's on target, fraction up. As we begin. And I'm just looking down at his coach. Down there on the line, Neil Henderson. And he's got the iPad there with indicator as well. Two minutes then completed. 1.5 up. 5Ks will be the interesting point to start with. Jens Voigt went through there at 6 minutes. So we'll get a good indication. Amazingly, Eddie Merckx way back, 5:55 for his opening 5Ks. Rohan's getting the information coming through. You can see there in the bottom right hand of your screen, we've got the split times coming up. .51.852 is what he's got to beat. So you should be seeing that average speed coming up bit by bit to get him closer. One of the things that we've been talking about in the build-up to this event is his big advantage. Well, one of his big advantages, Rohan Dennis, is that he can take the pain. He is an absolute beast when it comes to dealing with the pain. And he's looking strong at the moment, on schedule by the look of things. In fact, just ahead, I think, because it looked to me like Neil Henderson took a step away from the pursuit line, and he's just reined it back in. Averaging 51.7 kilometers an hour now. And he's going to be coming through to complete 4Ks now. 4:37 for the 4Ks, and that is 2.3 seconds up for the equivalent distance. Well, we're going to hear from a legend of team management now, the general manager of the BMC racing team, Jim Okovich.
Jim Okovich, how's the excitement level?
Incredible. We're here in Grenchen, Switzerland for the hour record with Rohan Dennis. Something we've been planning for months, and to be here and it's live now. On the track, he's digging in, he's making it work, so let's see how it goes.
He seems super fit, 18 laps, and he's going, and he looked quite calm at the start.
Yeah, he's very relaxed. He's, you know, of course, he's prepared for this, so he's been thinking about this for months, and now he's on the track doing it. So yeah, he's not thinking about nerves or anything at that moment. He's just concentrating on being consistent every lap and getting faster and faster as the hour record keeps approaching.
What's going on in your head? Fingers crossed, fingers crossed, fingers crossed?
All my fingers and toes are crossed, yes.
What do you think how do you think he's going to beat it? He wants to do 52 laps, 52 kilometers per hour, so what do you think he's going to make?
Look, we were coming into here preparing for 52.4 as a time, as a distance for the hour. So if he hits 52.4 at the end of the day, he breaks the record and we're happy.
And you think he's going to make it, of course?
I'm very, very confident in him, yes.
Well, we wish him all the best on that. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Well, Jim Okovich, he knows his stuff, really, that man. One of the legends of team management. Back in the day with 7-Eleven, of course, bringing them through as the first US team to really make a global impact. And now BMC, Swiss bike company, but a US registered team with some big Australian talent, really are establishing themselves as well. Just to recap for you, going through 5Ks, 5:45.909 for Rohan Dennis, and his average speed is round about 52. You can see there, 52.167. Gone up to 52.2 now. And Dennis just trying to hug that black line, the shortest possible distance around the track. It's going to be 209, 210 laps that Rohan Dennis is looking for here to beat 52.4. And it's going to be coming up to complete 29 so far. And his 30th lap just about to come up here, the 7.5K mark. Looking at the reference time, 8:40 is well inside that. And the average speed, giving you the indication now. Or rather his flat speed there, going through 52.3. Just stepping up fractionally. So looking smooth at the moment. We wait to see the second part of the equation for the hour record. Obviously there's part one is speed, but part two is endurance. And you can be the fastest man in the world for the first 45 to 50 minutes, but if you die like a dog in the last 10 minutes, you aren't going to be setting any records. So it's just coming up 10 minutes of riding. And he's well ahead there of that reference time, 4.8 seconds up. And it looks to me, just looking down to the pursuiter's line, he is bang on schedule by the look of things, judging by the position of Neil Henderson. And we'll be coming up in just 4 laps time on the completion of this now. 4 laps until we, sorry, 3 laps until we get the definitive 10K mark. And just for your reference, those of you watching at home, Matthias Brenner, 11:32 for his 10K. Eddie Merckx way back when, 11:52. Just shows how strong Merckx was to start. Here we go though. Crowd starting to pick up as he comes through. And he is going to be well inside. Five and a half seconds up on the pace of Rendell. So this is looking pretty impressive so far from Dennis. Just keeping that back rock solid. You can just see through that skin suit, the skin suit ultra thin to stop overheating. Just see the kineso tape underneath just to try and aid the muscles and the joints there as they hold that position for an hour. It's not like an hour's time trial on the road where you're shifting the body constantly as you're taking on corners and climbs and descents. This is just repetitive strain injury waiting to happen here. So we're going to hear from one of his teammates in BMC, the world mountain bike champion, Julien Absalon.
Julien Absalon, you're the best on the mountain bike, but what does track cycling mean for you?
It's really great to be here and to see Rohan try to become the fastest cyclist in the world. And I hope we will assist, he will enter in the history and he will beat this record.
Fingers crossed, definitely. You know what it means to feel a lot of pressure. You're the most successful mountain bike rider of all times. What do you think is the most difficult thing for Rohan Dennis during this hour?
I think he have a lot of pressure because he have no adversary. It's just him against the watch, so that's maybe more difficult.
As a sports person, how do you handle this pressure?
I think he is focused on his goal. He knows how he need to do. So he don't care about the public, about the television. He do what he need to do.
He seems very focused, so we think he's going to make it, right? He's on a good track now.
Yes, he is now on time.
Perfect. Well, we wish him all the best and thank you very much. Julien Absalon.
Well, that is a man who knows what it takes to make history. Multiple Olympic and world champion, the World Cup champion and current UCI mountain bike world champion as well, Julien Absalon. BMC, of course, with a strong presence in a whole range of cycle sport and track and road, very much at the fore here with Rohan Dennis versus the hour. On board his BMC track machine, TR01. Remember, it has to be essentially a production model with some modifications, and the modifications have been done by BMC's Impec Advanced labs, the R&D labs, largely about reducing that front area and using a custom molded cockpit for him. But just to give you an idea, that bike, fully carbon, just weighs in at 6.8 kilograms. Would actually be lower, but the weight straight out of the shop is 6.45, but of course there are UCI minimum weight requirements, so 6.8 is the weight of that bike, and Rohan is currently averaging 52.5 kilometers an hour, so it's looking good at the moment for the young Aussie. Big feather in his cap recently, winning the Tour Down Under. Something that all the Australian riders hope to achieve, and something that, of course, he's following in some great footsteps as well to do. And with that, of course, Dennis also became the first leader of the 2015 UCI World Tour. So already it's been a good start to the season, and he's picked up the torch that's been handed on from one of the greats, not just of Australian cycling, but of road cycling as a whole. Cadel Evans, the 2011 Tour de France winner and 2010 World Road Race champion, very much passing on the torch now within the BMC team to the guys like Rohan as they go forward. And of course, Rohan with a lot of targets ahead. No doubt Rio 2016 will be somewhere where we'll be seeing him featuring. Just trying to stay low, though, on that black line. All it's about at the moment is tapping out that pace and choking off lap after lap after lap here in the Velodrome Suisse in Gronchen. Just hugging the black line. That is the shortest route around the Velodrome. That is the 250 meters. So anytime he just drifts up above that, he's adding distance, but it's not going to be distance that's counted towards the total. So it's superfluous distance if he drifts away from the black line. Just still rock solid in that position, just churning the gear round. And one of the things very impressive here in the Velodrome Suisse is the amount of support that Rohan has got, not just from the crowd, not just from the fans, but also from all members of the various BMC teams. And they're at trackside cheering him on, willing him on to beat this record, and not just beat it, but to set a record that is going to make a lot of the other riders out there think twice. We've got a real rejuvenation to the attempt on the UCI hour record now since Jens Voigt set that standard of 51.115 kilometers, and we are going to have him coming up to 18 kilometer point here. 52.5, and he is 10 seconds ahead of Brendel's schedule at this time. Just looking down, and Neil Henderson is a good couple of steps away from the pursuit line, which should indicate he's going to be 0.2 of a second or so up on schedule. So it'll be interesting to see if he eases back. He has eased back ever so slightly, because Henderson's taken a step towards the line. We're going to hear now from the legend of Australian cycling and the 2010 World Road Race champion, Cadel Evans, BMC's new global ambassador.
Cadel Evans, you're retired since a week. Are you bored already?
No, not yet. It's 7 days today, 1 week exactly since I raced for the last time with a number on, but I'm enjoying it. I was looking forward to it. I enjoyed the time racing, and now I'm enjoying a little bit less stress in my life.
And enjoying also your new job as BMC Global Ambassador, I guess.
Yeah, today's my first weekend in a new role. Put a shirt on instead of a lycra jersey. It's it's a little bit different, and that's a transition you have to get used to as a bike rider. 20 years. It's all about training and how you perform on the bike, but now, of course, it's about other things. But enjoyable and very enjoyable. But in the world of cycling, around the motivated people, and doing similar things, but not nearly as much riding.
Still around the friends. Little change of ambiance today. How is it for you?
This is fantastic. Beautiful. Well, of course, we have a beautiful facility in Velodrome Suisse, but most of all, great ambience in the people and so on. But most of all, I see a Rohan who's really capable of beating this hour record and becoming the new world hour record holder. Looking at now, he's just on a 16.9 again lap time. That's everything's going on schedule, so it's looking very, very good. We're only, I think, 8 minutes away from that midway point, and that'll be a good indicator.
He seems really smooth and concentrated from the professional point of view. Looks good.
Yeah. Ideally, I think, as I know, as I know, Rohan is a little bit like me, and we're individuals. We like it to be quiet, calm, and then that's how we get the best out of ourselves. And today I was really happy. I saw him calm but very confident, and that for him, he's an ideal environment and a headspace to be in going into this. And obviously, it requires a lot of concentration, and when there's no distractions, he can concentrate and get the job done.
I saw you giving him some tips this afternoon, or you guys were chatting together, let's put it that way. And I think it's great because it's kind of passing on the torch, right?
Yeah, I think it was probably the tips I gave him at Tour Down Under were from my experience to pass on to him. Now he's in his element here. He's a road rider, but he's had a big track background. He's an Olympic medalist in the team pursuit. And watching him, like the line he's riding, it's gone a little bit wide on the banks, I can see, but this is his area of expertise, and I can't offer him much good advice on that.
But crossing fingers, that we can do, right?
I'm here clapping, cheering him on, being here as moral support and getting nervous on his behalf.
Perfect. So let's go back to that. Thank you very much. Cadel Evans, thank you.
Well, from one Australian great to another, Rohan Dennis going through 20 Ks, well ahead of the schedule of Matthias Brennel. And I'm just looking down to the track centre. Neil Henderson, his coach, just takes a fraction of a step towards him. And the analysts down at trackside working furiously over their computers. And he's got it, he's now actually back just slightly ahead on schedule by the look of things. So just in those laps, just so much can change. And we are coming up towards 5 minutes away from the halfway point. Nearly 15 seconds out, though, on the schedule of Matthias Brennel. just, as Cadell said, just drifted up here and there on some of the banking, but the crowd are really working hard here to support him. I can tell you that the presenters down in the track centre keep building up the atmosphere whenever it lulls slightly. And it's got to say, hats off to BMC with their approach to this. Totally professional approach. I've seen lots of local kids with their BMC caps and jerseys. The crowd here, they've all got their inflatable bam bams to make as much noise as possible. It's all about spurring on Rohan Dennis towards this world record. 16 seconds now ahead of the relative mark for Brandel. .92 laps completed. And remember that magic number, 207 laps is the target to beat Brendel's mark. The schedule they're aiming for, though, somewhere between 209 and 210 laps. 52.4 kilometers is their target. And at the moment, Rohan Dennis is very much on that. Brendel set his mark at the UCI Velodrome down at Aigle. And that is a much smaller, tighter velodrome. Having to work harder, arguably, at Aigle, just because the banking comes so much quicker. Just a little respite from the G-forces on these longer straights. We're getting towards two very important milestones here in this attempt. We're going to be coming up towards the halfway mark in terms of time, but also getting closer and closer to the 100 laps completed. So that will also give us an indication of how he's going. Rohan Dennis then. Just hasn't moved an inch, I don't think, that's at the top of the body. A little bit more information about Rohan's bike. As you say, it's a Track Machine TR01. And the carbon fork with integrated stem and bar included as well. Well, we've got a big treat coming up, because we're going to be joined here in the commentary box by the one and only Cadell Evans. I'm getting a little bit excited here just from that. Cadell, welcome to the live coverage. How's your boy doing?
Thanks for having me first of all. But, no, he's
Well, we are just coming up to, we've gone through 103 laps, we're coming up to the halfway mark. Cadell, as we heard from the interview, it's been a week away from racing, but you've got a big role now as BMC's global ambassador. one challenge to another, I guess.
Yeah, certainly. Sorry, I'm looking at these lap times here because obviously the big numbers, 30 minutes, 104 laps, being halfway to 208 laps for a distance that's very good. Now I take a switch across the finish line in Geelong there in my last race, and now I start a new phase of my life, but of course still involved in the sport and still involved with cycling.
What I really noticed as well is watching you here. You're a massive cycling fan. We've gone through the halfway point, and he is well up on the time of Brendan, 20 seconds ahead of Brendan's schedule. Now you know what this man's got in the tank because you've ridden with him on the road. You're alongside him as he got his maiden win in the Tour Down Under. He can take the pain, can't he?
He can, and the interesting thing I find now with the track specialists coming in, like we saw Jack Bobridge last week in Melbourne have a go, and then now Rohan comes in, and understandably so Bradley Wiggins is going to have an attempt at some point in the future. These guys have the muscle years of work, and they've got that muscle memory that stays in them for their efficiency, not just pedaling but also their technique to stay so close to the line and be more efficient. Rohan here is riding a good lap right there, staying within a few centimetres of the corner. You see there as he passes by through his coach, he's right on the line. These little things that at this level start to make a really big difference, and these track specialists are certainly amazing to watch. They are road riders as we know them, but here their background really comes through.
Obviously you haven't ridden the hour record yourself, but you know this kind of effort, how much pain is he going to be in at the end of this?
Well, so from what I understand, it's the worst hour you can possibly do on a bike. Now, a road time trial is very different because you have little pauses where you can back off. Here they're riding a fixed gear. They're at one constant power, but for every second in a road time trial, you've got a corner where for maybe a second and a half, you don't have to pedal. You have a little downhill or something where you just back off just for a moment and then you get going again. But here in the hour record on the track, as in a track effort, it's constant. But here, it's not a 4 kilometre pursuit where we're hopefully going over 52 kilometres in this hour. So for that distance, it's really something that mentally and physically, I don't think we could possibly have a more draining effort on two wheels.
And one more question for you. I mean, you were at the top of the tree in mountain biking, top of the tree in road. You never fancied a crack at track as well?
At a certain point, all good things take time. I'll say that. To be number one in the world in one sport was for me already a dream come true. The fact that I had the opportunity to do it in two, I think I consider myself very, very lucky. To try for third, no, that's probably a little bit too much, I think.
And I wish you the very best of luck in your new role. I've got to say, BMC have got a great person in the role, because not only are you a fantastic athlete, but also you're one of the nicest guys that I've ever met in cycling. I remember you way back when in the mountain bike days. So I wish you the very best of luck with everything, and enjoy your retirement. And I'm sure you want to get trackside and cheer him on. So
thank you.
Thanks for joining us, Cadell Evans.
Thank you very, very much.
And we're going to hear from Cadell's boss now, Andy Rees, the owner of BMC Switzerland and the BMC racing team.
What a day. It's super exciting. Halftime. How do you feel?
Yes, it's absolutely the first time in my life to be in our own velodrome, with our own riders, with our own bicycles, and with our own wine, you know. I mean, it's fantastic. I think it's probably one of the highlights in my sportive life, yes.
And probably soon with your own record.
Yeah, probably soon, yeah. It looks good, and I know Dennis, because I was just in Australia with Tour Down Under. If a guy wins, you know, in the mountain against Richie Porte and against Cadell in a mountain thing, that means something. At 24 years, for me, is the future of Australian cycling.
And he won in the mountain today. He's going to win against the hour, hopefully. You saw him race in Australia, and you just told us it seems he really has everything it needs.
Yes, I think he has all necessary talents and physical condition to do it, okay? And I wish that everything goes fine. And at the moment, he looks for me as a race machine, you know, he's just pedals. He doesn't move, unnecessary move, he's just on his track. And I think, I'm pretty sure he will do it.
That's what we just heard before from Franco Mavrulli, from one of the most successful track riders, and he said, compared to the others, to Jens Vogt and all the others who tried it, he seems very calm. He's still not using his upper body or anything.
Absolutely, because his background is the track, okay? He was in the junior already time, you know, and this is, by the way, this track exists because we want to create the new generation of riders, young riders, and give them the basic school on the track. This is the best school to become a great bicycle rider.
And today it seems it's the perfect combination. Great rider, great track, great bike.
Yes, absolutely. And I think we have been surprised. It was his idea to come to do it. And I said, well, yeah, it's a bit short, but everything was logic. He said, I'm on the track, very good. I know I go to train for Tour Down Under, so I come up with the top shape. And in my opinion, it looks really very much like, at the moment he has 52.794. This is already 1K more. I made a prognostic. I said, for me, and I made a bet also, I said between 500 and 1K. 500 meters and 1K, he will make it better. He has the potential. Now we see. But it looks very good. Hey, it's a great day.
We're crossing fingers. Thank you very, very much, and all the best.
Yes, thank you. Bye-bye.
It's always good to see a boss who's really into the sport, and you got to say, Andy Rees is very much a man for cycling. BMC with fantastic achievements in BMX, mountain biking, triathlon, road, and now, of course, track as well. And Rohan Dennis is just continuing to chip away here, 29 seconds quicker than he's reached that point 29 seconds quicker than Brenda did in his ride. And a man from Adelaide turns 25 in May, is just rock solid at the moment, looking down towards his coach. Neil Henderson just stepping towards Rohan there on the line ever so slightly. The officials, though, logging all the data. I can see the BMC tech crew down there as well, glued to their screens. They'll be looking at all of the power output that's coming through, all the information. And as Cadell said, Rohan has got some great track background. Two-time Team Pursuit World Champion, silver medalist at London 2012. He's a member of the current World Team Time Trials champions. BMC team taking that in Ponferrada last year. And he's got a very, very impressive Palmares. "20 minutes then will be coming up very shortly. 139 laps will be completed when he comes through here. And he is 32 seconds up. on the time of Matthias Brendel. So it is looking pretty good at the moment. You can see there just on the back of his bike is the little timing sensor using the 2 disc wheels for maximum aerodynamics, because of course there's no crosswind to contend with, so the stability isn't affected. And information coming through, he's running the tyres he's running there, the Continental Tempo is 19 mil, servicing at 15.5 bar. For those of you out there who like all of the technical information. His cranks there, Shimano 9001 mil, and they've got SRM equipped, so that'll give his tech team plenty of information there as well. They'll be getting, generally they're looking at things like heart rates, power outputs, cadence, to try and work out where any little fluctuations may come, and if anything has to be done to alter his effort. But next big marker will be the 40-kilometer mark. And we'll also be moving towards another big marker, 15 minutes to go. So 3/4 of the attempt will have been completed very shortly. Looking at something around 52.8 at the moment, and that would be a substantial step up on Brandel's record. It's almost going to be a kilometre ahead, as Andy Rees said. They were looking at somewhere between 500 metres and a kilometre. Looks like he is bang on schedule again, because Neil Henderson is right on the pursuit line. Just looks so comfortable. I'm sure when we get to the end of this hour session that he's going to look anything but. But at the moment, Rohan Dennis is just a textbook image of a pursuiter's style. Fluid, keeping that front cross section as small as possible. The elbows tucked in under the shoulders. The back flat with the teardrop helmet. Almost making a continuation down the spine for the air to flow as smoothly as possible. It's gone through 38 kilometers then. Slowly counting down then to those 2 big milestones. He's gone through 153 laps. 154, he needs 51 more laps to beat the record. And he has just about 16 minutes to do that. .39.3 now ahead of the schedule of Brendel. Absolutely destroying that schedule. What we wait to see is how much has he got left in the tank for the last 15 minutes of racing. It's not just about physical toughness as well, the mental toughness that's coming in here, not just to ride through the pain, but also, let's be honest, the tedium of lapping. He just zones out, just gets on with the job. Down ever so slightly on schedule by the look of things. Looked like to me that Neil Henderson just took a step there. So we'll see if Rohan Dennis can respond. He's gone through 45 minutes, 15 minutes to go, and he's already clocked up 39.7. And through the 40k mark now, 40k's in 45.26. And just to get an insight into what this man's like to ride with, we're going to hear from one of his teammates from BMC Racing and one of his fellow team time trial world champions, Sylvain Dillier. Apologies, we will hear from him now.
Less than 15 minutes to go from a professional point of view. What do you say? I think we're entering the hardest phase now.
Yeah, I think so. 15 minutes to go is yeah, probably the hardest part, because you had already a long time on the track, and but it's still 15 minutes to go, and I think it's hard now.
But when we're watching him, he's still very calm. He seems very concentrated, focused. He's on a time is perfect, so I think he's going to make it. What do you say?
Yeah, he looks like a man on a mission. I mean, he's really focused. Already when I was with him in Australia, you could see his focus is on his hour record attempt. And yeah, I think he looks good, and the chance is high that he's going to break the record.
You know what it feels like when you're on there and your legs are burning and it's getting really hard. What is it that motivates you? What is it that keeps you going?
Yeah, I mean, he sees the goal. He sees now it's 15 minutes to go, and he approaches more and more the end. And yeah, if you have the positive thoughts in your head, then it makes everything much easier.
So we hope the best. We hope it's all going to happen. No bike change. If he had to, he could change the bike now still, but he'd lose him some time, of course.
Yeah, sure. I mean, if something happened, it can ruin your whole record attempt. But yeah, he has a good advantage, and probably if he had to change the bike, he still can make it, but for sure not as good as without problems.
Well, we definitely hope for the best. Thank you very much. Thank you.
So hearing there from Sylvain Dillier, Rohan Dennis' teammate on BMC Racing Team, and I think he's probably right. It is going to start to hurt now for Rohan Dennis, but he is still on schedule. Neil Henderson on that pursuit line. 171 laps completed for Rohan Dennis. And the crowd is starting to pick up now. I think they realised that this is where they can come into play. They can make a big, big difference. And Rohan coming round. Still looking at an average of 52.7, so just dropping slightly inside that kilometre improvement on Matthias Brendel's record, and he's down on his schedule slightly. look to see if he can respond. And I don't think he can, because Neil Henderson is moving towards him, away from the pursuiter's line. There's a few glances going between the coach and the analysts by the finish line. 50 minutes, 10 minutes to go for Rohan Dennis. 177 laps he'll be completing when he comes around this time around. He's done 44 kilometers in 50 minutes. So this is where we find out the real mettle of the man. Still on course for nearly 52.8 kilometers, which will be a huge improvement on the current hour record. He's nearly 50 seconds up on the schedule of Matthias Brendel. 8 minutes to go, 180th lap now. Rohan Dennis needs to find 24 laps. So, they've got the crowd shouting now. The Aussies are coming. I know that there are quite a few Australians in the crowd as well. Seeing some Australian rugby shirts in there. The gold and green of Australia. Cadell Evans will be there cheering him on as well. We're inside 8 minutes. He's got 21 laps to go if he's going to set this new record. He is down on his schedule now, but if his schedule was for 52.8, he has quite a buffer over Brendel. We're going to see it maybe drift away slightly. I don't think it'll be a kilometre improvement here. 52.689 now, the average speed. So he is dropping off that pace. But he has maintained a good racing line all the way. Still hugging that black line as tight as he can. Just the last few minutes then for Rohan Dennis. 187. We're counting down. The crowd are getting behind him. The Swiss, the Australians. The Bam Bams are being banged together now. It's all about trying to make that difference. Just stepping it up slightly. The atmosphere makes all the difference, because cyclists are performers, and particularly track cyclists, they do respond. Now the question is, can Rohan Dennis respond here? 52.6 is average speed now. He's still 48 seconds ahead, relatively, of Brendel at that point. 191 laps completed. He has got 13 laps to go. 5 minutes or so coming up. The clock ticking through. Here we go then. 5 minutes to go for Rohan Dennis. Five minutes of pain. He just needs 10 more laps after this one. Still rock solid. The head just moving slightly. It's just drifting up slightly on the exit of the banking now. That's when it starts to feel tired. He's got back on it though, back on the black line. Still down on his schedule, but still ahead massively on the schedule of Brendel. It looks to me like it's starting to hurt now. Here we go, coming up to 4 minutes to go. 196 laps completed. And the crowd are starting to rise. They're on their feet now to cheer on this young Australian. Rohan Dennis has had a great year so far. He won the Tour Down Under, Australia's premier race, the World Tour opener. He is the World Tour leader, but now he's going to write his name in the record books in quite a different way, because Rohan Dennis is closing in on the world hour record. He's got just over 3 minutes to go. He is going to complete 200 laps here. Here he comes then, 200 laps. It's a kilometre time trial now, almost. He's got 2 3/4 minutes. It's now about how much pain he can take to try and get those extra laps. Getting so close now to that mark of Brendel's. Coming up to 2 minutes to go, 202 laps. He's just got 600 meters now to beat the record. He's gonna do it, but by how much? Has he got anything left? The crowd's chanting his name. The Australian flag's being waved down at trackside. We've got 1 3/4 minutes to go. He's gonna beat the world record. Rohan Dennis is gonna beat the world hour record now. And he's still got 90 seconds to go. Rohan Dennis is the new world record holder. My voice is starting to go. We're going to bring you home, though. Come on, Rohan Dennis. You have got to go into that hurt locker one more time. Neil Henderson is beckoning him on. He still has a minute to go. He's drifting up now. He's up towards the red line. It's starting to hurt so much. He's got less than a minute to go. 51.75. It's drifting away in time for the distance. He has it, record in the bag. My apologies, got a little bit ahead of myself there. 52 kilometers done. What can he do then in the last 30 seconds? It's going to be 52.250. He's got 10 seconds left to go, surely. Can he make it 52? 500. 3, 2, 1. Oh my goodness me! Rohan Dennis. 52.491. My goodness, he was just 9 meters short of 52.250. Wow, what a ride from Rohan Dennis. He salutes the crowd. There's a massive grin on his face. So he has beaten Brenner's time there by about 600 meters. We're going to hopefully hear from the guys soon. Neil Henderson, his coach, is going down to give him a high five and to bring him to a stop. This is where it's going to hurt, I think. He looks as fresh as a daisy. Oh my goodness me, that is what success does for you, I think. We saw Bobridge, he was absolutely shattered, but Rohan Dennis gets the bike above his head. Aussie, 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 he has smashed it. And Rohan Dennis, 52.491 kilometers. He's after a drink, into his armchair to relax. A chance for him just to towel down, get the drink. There's a big hug from Cadell Evans. What a fantastic moment for Australian cycling. So Rohan, just a chance to recover. All of the support crew massively relieved and delighted that their man has brought it home. There's hugs all round. Neil Henderson is getting handshakes and back slaps everywhere. And he too has got a big, big smile on his face. The man who walked the line for the last hour to give Rohan Dennis the best possible idea of where he was in terms of that hour record. And I think we are going to hear from the man himself. He looks remarkably fresh, considering he has just set a new world hour record. And we are going to hear from the man himself as he proudly waves the Australian flag there. Let's go down to trackside and hear from the new hour record holder, Rohan Dennis of the BMC Racing Team.
Rohan Dennis, you just set a new world record. How do you feel?
Pretty tired, but really, really proud. But with BMC, they made it easy. They the whole week leading into this, since Tour Down Under, it was very stressless. There was no pressure, and everything worked perfectly. So it almost feels too easy, but obviously it wasn't. But yeah, they made it absolutely perfect.
How was it for you in the last laps when you realized, I've done it, I've set the record, and now it's just about how high it's going to be?
There's a lot of pain. I couldn't really enjoy it too much, to be honest. I knew it was 208 laps, and when I went past 208, it was just, like you said, just go as hard as you can. I knew about 2.5 laps to go, maximum. But also I knew that I had to finish off after 1 hour, 1 lap, so I was still thinking about that and trying to stay positive about that as well.
You had a lot of support from the BMC side, as you said, from your team and also from the crowd. How was that?
Absolutely amazing. It was obviously there was a quiet patch. I can imagine that it would have been a bit repetitive for after half an hour, but they really got behind me, especially when they knew it was going to be a new record, and I really appreciate everyone coming out and supporting us. It's a great event, and hopefully that record stands for a little while.
Hat sich bei euch bedankt, Grenke. Jetzt könnt ihr euch nochmal bei ihm bedanken. Er hat gesagt, ihr habt ihn durch die letzte Halbstunde gedreht. Der neue Stundenweltrekordhalter, Rohan Dennis!
Wow, Rohan Dennis is the new world hour record holder. Very gracious there in his success as well. And I have to say, from what I've seen here, BMC really have pulled out all the stops here to help him get there. Of course, we're in the backyard of BMC at Velodrome Suisse. It's literally across the road to BMC's headquarters. And they've been here in force, their technicians, his fellow riders, all cheering him on, and a massive crowd by the standards of the Velodrome Suisse, absolutely packed to the rafters, and all cheering him on. And what a great moment here for his coach as well, Neil Henderson. We're going to hear from the man with the plan down at trackside.
Neil Henderson, you seemed super calm the whole time. I'd like to have you as a coach. I had the impression all the time you knew, yeah, he's going to make it. Everything's easy.
You don't absolutely know until it's done. There's a reason I don't have much hair. And I'm gray.
Well, but
all in. I don't let it show out. It's important.
I had that impression, but how was it for you?
Everything went very well. We had a couple different options in terms of looking at pacing, and he did a fabulous job. He was right on at a pace that we knew he could achieve a new record, and there was potential to go a little faster, which he clearly did. And so that whole time, it's very intense having that concentration and with the rider and just making sure that everything is on schedule. A tenth of a second matters in a lap, and there's 200 and some of them to get right every time. So it's a lot, but Rohan did the really hard job. At the end of the day, he did a fantastic job, put in the best hour, and really proud of all the support team that contributed to it.
Well, and then in the end, he did it. And as far as I can say, you said you had different plans. Everything went according to plan.
Yeah, we had one goal at 52.4 kilometers per hour, and another goal just a little higher than that, and he exceeded the 54.2, so absolutely fantastically happy.
He did it. Well, I'll let you go and celebrate. Thank you so much, and what can I say? Congratulations. Awesome job. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you to Velodrome Suisse and all the BMC team here that have made this happen. It's been fantastic.
Thank you so much, and thanks to the public. That's the coach, the trainer, Neil Henderson.
Well, Neil Henderson did his job to perfection, walking the line, giving Rohan Dennis all of that information, and it's paid off. 52.491 kilometers. The new UCI hour world record. And Rohan saying he hopes that it's going to stand for a while. Well, there's plenty of challenges coming up. Not least one that we hear might come from Sir Bradley Wiggins. but as Rohan was saying when he was talking about Jens Voigt's initial mark, once you've said you're going to do it, you've got to step up. So that's it from the live coverage from us. We're going to bring you the highlights of Rohan Dennis's new world hour record. I've been Dan Jarvis, and thanks for joining us here at Velodrome Suisse, Grenchen. And let's hear it for the new hour world record holder, Rohan Dennis.